I never believed in love at first sight until that moment our eyes met across the restaurant, the same eyes I'd been avoiding in board meetings for weeks. If you've ever had your entire world flip upside down in a single heartbeat, stick around for this story. And if you're enjoying it, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more unexpected twists of fate that might just remind you of your own life's surprising turns. It started with a lie. A simple, harmless lie that snowballed into something I couldn't control. My best friend Jamie had been pestering me for months about my perpetual single status, insisting that I needed to get back out there after my devastating breakup with Mark last year. When my cousin's wedding invitation arrived with a +1, Jamie saw her opportunity. Just find someone for the wedding, she said, scrolling through dating apps on my phone while I tried to focus on the mountain of quarterly reports I needed to review. It doesn't have to be real. Just someone to get your family off your back. I snatched my phone back. I'm not bringing a stranger to Sophia's wedding. Then make one up. Tell them you're dating someone, and they'll stop asking. Then conveniently break up after the wedding. The idea was ridiculous, but when my mother called that night with her third eligible bachelor suggestion of the week, I cracked. Actually, Mom, I've been seeing someone. His name is James. He's a finance executive. Very busy, probably can't make the wedding. The lie bought me peace for exactly 2 weeks before my mother insisted on meeting this mysterious James before the wedding. In a panic, I turned to a coworker who owed me a favor. Just one dinner with my parents. Please, Eric. Eric agreed, but fate had other plans. The night before our fake date, he called with food poisoning. Desperate, I reached out to an old college friend who worked as an actor. I'll pay you, I promised. Fine, Ryan said. Text me the details and what I need to know about this James character. I spent that night creating an elaborate backstory, texting Ryan everything from James's favorite food, Thai, to his fictional career path. I even sent a detailed description of how we supposedly met at a charity fundraiser. The restaurant I chose was upscale but not pretentious, far enough from my workplace to avoid running into colleagues. I arrived early, nervously checking my phone every few minutes. When the host approached, I expected him to lead Ryan to my table. Instead, he said, "Your guest is waiting at the bar." Confused, I followed him, scanning the crowded bar area. And there he was, not Ryan, but Alexander Reid, the recently appointed CEO of my company. The man whose presentations I'd been preparing for weeks but had somehow never directly met. Our eyes locked, and something electric passed between us. He looked equally shocked to see me. "Ms. Parker," he said, standing. "What are you doing here?" My mind raced. Had Ryan sent him as a substitute? Impossible, they didn't know each other. Was this some horrible coincidence? "I'm meeting someone," I managed to say. He checked his watch. "That's strange. I was told to meet a woman named Emma here. Something about helping with a family situation?" My blood ran cold. Emma. My middle name, which Ryan sometimes used. Somehow, my message had reached Alexander instead of Ryan. "I think there's been a mistake," I began, but just then, I spotted my parents entering the restaurant. My mother's face lit up when she saw me standing with Alexander, who, with his tailored suit and commanding presence, certainly looked the part of a successful finance executive. Before I could explain, my mother embraced me. "You must be James. Emma has told us so much about you." Alexander's eyebrows shot up, but to my astonishment, he smiled warmly and extended his hand to my father. "It's a pleasure to meet you both." And just like that, Alexander Reid, CEO of Meridian Enterprises, became my fake boyfriend for the evening. The dinner was surreal. Alexander played along flawlessly, somehow knowing exactly what to say. He charmed my parents with stories that perfectly aligned with the fictional James I'd created, occasionally throwing me amused glances that made my heart race. When my parents excused themselves briefly, I leaned across the table. I am so sorry about this. There's been a terrible misunderstanding. Clearly, he said, but he was smiling. Care to explain why your parents think I'm your boyfriend named James who works in finance? I told him everything, the pressure from my family, the fake boyfriend scheme, the mix-up with Ryan. By the end, I was certain I'd be fired by morning. Instead, Alexander laughed. That's the most interesting thing that's happened to me in months. You're not angry? Should I be? Your quarterly projections were excellent, by the way. I've been meaning to tell you that. When my parents returned, Alexander continued his performance, even going so far as to insist on paying the bill. As we said goodbye outside the restaurant, my mother whispered, "He's wonderful, Emma. Don't let this one get away." Once they were gone, I turned to Alexander. Thank you for not exposing me. I promise this will never happen again. Actually, he said, his expression suddenly serious, I was hoping we might do this again. Without the pretense. I stared at him, certain I'd misheard. What? Dinner. Just the two of us. I'd like to get to know the real Emma Parker. That night changed everything. We agreed to keep our budding relationship quiet at work, though the secret glances across conference rooms made my colleagues suspicious. When I finally brought Alexander, the real Alexander, not James, to my cousin's wedding, my mother was confused but delighted by the coincidence that my new boyfriend resembled my old one. It wasn't always easy. Dating your CEO comes with complications, workplace gossip, concerns about favoritism, the pressure of balancing professional and personal boundaries. We faced each challenge together, learning that honesty, even when it's difficult, is always better than the most convenient lie. 1 year later, Alexander proposed in that same restaurant where our story began. As he slipped the ring onto my finger, he whispered, "I'm glad you invented James. He led me to you." Sometimes the most beautiful truths emerge from the most desperate falsehoods. Sometimes one look really can change everything. And sometimes, the person you're meant to find has been right in front of you all along, you just needed the courage to truly see them. If this story touched your heart, remember to like and subscribe for more tales of unexpected love and second chances. Because you never know when your own life might take a surprising turn, transforming an ordinary day into the first chapter of your greatest adventure.